All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this special edition of the Not Move Podcast Hockey Show in the Wickets. I'm your boy, Dollface Gremlin. Next to me is my boy, A Train. And ladies and gentlemen, we did it!
Yes.
We did it!
Yes, Graham. The 46-year wait ends. Last gold was in 1980. Was the last time we pulled this gold medal off for the United States of America.
Yeah, this is incredible. It was great. Watching the Olympics, you and I always we talk about it off show how much we love seeing Olympic hockey. To finally experience watching a gold medal, not on the losing end, right?
Yep.
That's something. I told you, I predicted. I thought the Americans would win, but you never know how international play goes. For us, this is our first gold medal in hockey as international play. How do you feel about it? I love it.
This is crazy, Graham. And then you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I look at our seven, I look at their seven, I look at the Lions. That Canada team's better than us. Don't you think? Like on paper?
And the forwards, I think so. Their forwards, I think so. But I think defensively, America was better the whole time. And I thought that going into it. Um, it's hard to argue that their forwards are not better than Team America. I mean, Connor McDavid led the whole tournament in points.
Mm-hmm.
Macklin Celebrini, I believe, was tied or in the top three in goals. I think he
Mm-hmm.
had the top in goals. Uh, yeah, by all accounts, A Train, this it should have been a little bit more lopsided in Canada's favor.
Yeah, especially that 3-on-5 advantage they had in the power play. I
Oh
mean,
my gosh.
for us to stand tall and step up defensively wasn't that wild.
That was impressive for Team America. And that's one thing, I can attest to for being a fan of the Penguins. I've seen Mike Sullivan do this with the teams that the Pens have, where he gets that grit and grind going, even at 5-on-3, 5-on-4. He makes sure that the team is still going to be in proper position and playing tight, albeit this year. He has not had the best showing for New York, but this is international play, all-star rosters essentially. And he really took advantage of the physicality that the Americans clearly had over Team
Yeah.
Canada.
Yeah, facts. I mean, and then I definitely got worried when Kel McCarr got that fucking goal. That shit was crazy. I was like, oh, great, here we go. Of course, Kel McCarr, makes a ridiculous play to tie the game up. And then even when they got that power play late in the game, I was definitely worried, just not knowing like, are we going to be able to hold on since they got that power play late.
Yeah, that power play late was a killer, but look at it this way. I thought the game was really teeter-totter in the way of Americans really controlled the first period, even though they didn't win in shots. They were really controlling the puck. They
Yeah.
were playing more so in their zone. They just couldn't get the shot
Yep.
off like the Canadians were getting. But the whole second period, didn't it seem like that belonged to Team Canada?
Yeah, and then it felt good, like beginning, the breakaway, Matt Boldy gets that first goal. You're like, all right, we're on top 1-0, let's see what happens from here. And then, they tie it up with that Kel McCarr goal, and I'm like, oh shit, here we go. We're in for a dogfight at this point. Now
Y-
I'm looking at that box score, Graham. What was it, 41-29 shots on goal heading towards the end of that third
y-
period.
Yeah, Bennington had light work throughout this whole game. He only faced 28 shots. He
Right.
only faced 28 shots the whole game. And, albeit he did let up the most important one. How about that save he made in overtime, stretching across the crease off the one timer there and just tipped his glove? He did, he made that save. Bennington, you and I talked about the last show. I said I was disappointed in his play so far. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he
Yep.
he he did a good job today, all things given, and Canada did their best to limit the shots, like you said. I mean, your boy Cale McCarr, he had the most ice time out of everybody. 24 minutes and 32 seconds, and the next closest to him was Connor McDavid with 24 minutes, almost even 24:01. And but look at Connor McDavid, no points, -2.
Yep.
That doesn't mean that he played terribly because you and I actually we watched the whole game and he was flying all over the ice, wasn't he, A Train?
And like I was messing with the guys because we're obviously all NFL football fans. I was like, when I think of if I when I think of McDavid, I think of a Lamar Jackson or a Josh Allen of the league. Great during the regular season, doesn't show up when it matters the most, and we saw it again in the Olympics this year.
Yeah, I know. I know. I I was worried. You messaged me at one point, and we were talking about Connor Hellebuck, and
Yeah,
I let my NHL bias get the best of me. And I said, well, let's wait till the end of the game to start shouting his praises, right? I
yeah,
did say that.
yeah. And I was
I,
thinking I jinxed him because Kel McCarr scored after I messaged you, and I was like, I jinxed us.
yeah, you and them Colorado boys playing for the other side of the country here. We don't like it. We like their talents, but this game we just didn't like it. Your Colorado boys just decided to show up and do whatever they could to get anything on net. Nate McKinnon this close on that one almost open net shot that he had there. This close that he just missed.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at like the close parts in this game, right? I want to bring you back also to that crazy Connor Hellebuyck buck save. I want to talk about, Devon Taves, right? Dude, if Hallebuck doesn't get that stick down and deflect that puck, it's going in, right? Like that was for sure a goal if he doesn't make a ridiculous play at goalie. To me, he was the MVP of the game, 41 saves. Dude, my hat's off to him, man. He guy balled out, right?
Yeah, I think that's might be one of the most impressive performances in Connor Hellebuck's career that I've seen since he's been in the league, right?
Mhm.
97 save percentage in this game. And obviously we saw the big one was that stick. Clearly, just the stick, just barely getting on that shot and
Yeah.
deflecting it to go out of the net. Someone said, I remember, I think you and I were talking to each other, and someone said, "Remember that save," right? They were like, "Remember that save," because if this ends up going in the United States' favor, that's going to be a huge reason why. Um, Another reason why, obviously, the Chuck brothers really just know how to play international hockey.
Man, yeah, we can't say enough about them. Again, this is what America is, right? It is grit, battling through adversity, and coming up big. It's crazy. Just like I'm at a loss of words. Honestly, I don't even know what to say with how great these guys played today. I mean, again, like I said, I was talking with the guys on the live when we were doing the live watch party, and I was conversing back and forth with Southgate, and he's like, "Man, that McCarr guy is good." I'm like, "I told you, Southgate." I'm like, "This guy is no joke." And then I was talking to Jake with Nathan McKinnon. Nathan McKinnon, he gets down. He just gets down the ice so fast. He stops, and then he can just spin and go the opposite direction just as fast as anybody. You know what I mean? Like just the speed that they have three of the fastest players in the world just on the ice. You know what I mean?
They do. Yeah, you nailed it with how Kale McCarr skates. Just nobody skates like him. The only one who I can compare that is close is Quinn Hughes, and we
Yeah.
saw that with him with Team USA.
Hmm.
Just the skating ability of these guys.
Hmm.
People say names like Bobby Orr. They throw names like Nick Lidstrom around these great skaters, Paul Coffey, in regard to these guys, because this is not us saying it, it's these even former NHL Hall of Famers who notice it and they're saying it. And you're right. Cale McCarr exhibited nothing but tremendous skating this entire Olympics. And if
Yeah.
the world didn't know already that he was top one or two in all of hockey for defense, as well as top three in all of hockey for a player, you would think they're put even more on notice right now.
Yeah, and I'm watching the ceremony to get the medals and stuff, I kept my eyes on Kale McCarr. Man, I have not seen that guy so pissed off in my life. And I watch every Colorado Avalanche game. At that award ceremony, he looks so mad. So I think especially on Team Canada, you're gonna see these guys kind of pissed off coming up from this break. Especially guys on Team Canada.
I don't know if you saw the most dejected person too. Once again, Connor McDavid, his face on the bench just looked absolutely destroyed. I wanna, maybe this is the bias in me being a Pittsburgh Penguin fan, but I wonder how different this game is with Sidney Crosby involved.
Yeah, I was literally
Um,
gonna say that. we look back, right? We look back on what Canada did in the the Four Nations tourney. We look back at when they beat us last time in overtime, right, with that 3-2 win against us. Sidney Crosby, right? Sidney Crosby is a key player. Sid the Kid, right? I can't. I love the guy, dude. Like I said, best friends with my favorite player, Nathan McKinnon. Like, I'm at a loss of words of what I can say about that guy too. He's something. He's a game changer, right? And you saw with them not having him, I think it came up big. Connor McDavid, they gave him that honorary captain's patch, because they knew that Sidney Crosby wasn't going to play. Uh, Connor McDavid doesn't show up when it matters the most, Graham. It just seems to be that's what happens. Am I wrong? Like,
So it, it's hard to say because we saw him win the Conn Smythe the first time in the Stanley Cup Finals, which he did have a tremendous performance.
you're
We
right.
can't deny that. The second, I would say, the second finals against the Panthers, we saw a little bit of a drop off. I want to say in the last couple games there, specifically Game 6. Yes, he was skating all over the ice, but it just seems like maybe that's easy to key in on, right?
Right.
Maybe that's how these teams are able to start keying in on McDavid so much better in the playoffs and tournaments rather than regular season
Yeah.
because they know he's going to get that full head of steam. He's going to try and use his tremendous hands and skating ability to maneuver and deke in and out of defenders. But now you see when it's up against people like Quinn Hughes, Zach Wierenski, top tier defenders down from the top pairing to the last pairing to the men who are rotating in on the bench.
Right.
I have to say Connor McDavid looks very ordinary at times.
Yep. And I mean, again, Jack Hughes, right? Beats Jordan Bennington. This man, dude, I watched this guy get slapped in the teeth with a high
Yeah.
stick, break two teeth. He literally broke two teeth off. He's bleeding all over the place. Man comes back, makes the biggest play of the game. I mean, crazy, crazy.
Just I it reeks of US tenacity, doesn't it? This reeks of what how we want to win the game, right? This is the team that GM Billy Guerin from the Wild also who put this team together for United States with head coach Mike Sullivan. Mike Sullivan likes to coach guys like this who are going to come back from chopping the mouth, taking out a couple teeth there even because you saw in the post game interview where he was very emotional celebrating where his lip right here, you see a little bit of blood. You see that bottom tooth knocked out. You see the top tooth, and he's still. This really speaks to hockey in general, right? A train,
Yep.
just how tough they are in general.
Yep. That game 7 Stanley Cup, game 7 type feel. I mean, God, man, I was telling I was telling all the guys on the podcast, I was like, I'm proud of you guys. You guys sat down, watched the game from start to finish. Now you get to see what me and Graham watch on a constant basis. You know what I mean? I'm like, I hope you guys are around for Stanley Cup because I really want you guys to get into hockey big like we are. You know what I mean? I just,
Yes.
Southgate's getting back into it. We got betters. Betters don't watch hockey. Even betters is like, your guys' show has really got me back into hockey. So that's what the goal of this show is going to be, right, Graham? Is we need to get people excited about hockey again because especially after a game we just saw, I feel like this is the time to watch hockey again.
It really is. I mean, you see, and yeah, maybe we can blame it on this being a somewhat of an all-star tournament, right?
Hmm.
And we can say that. Yes, every team had some sort of all-star lineup from their country, but it's stuff like this that happens every 4 years. It seems like that gets the fans and people who aren't into hockey realizing this sport is freaking tremendous. Why haven't I been paying attention before? And
Hmm.
then, yeah, and even look, we have one of our friends down there, Uncle Mac. Now I'm a fan and I need to choose a hockey team now, right?
Hmm.
That's what we want. That's what we want and especially, I think the bigger picture of this too is what happened this Olympics, both men and women winning gold against Canada in overtime. Not only does it boost the game for us in the US, but it's boosting it for everybody just to see the spotlight come down onto the hockey world in the Olympics. And we're seeing people like our friend here, Uncle Mac, who's going to be looking for a new team. Hey, man, Penguins are awesome. Or Avalanche, Avalanche, Penguins, you can't go wrong. But now we're seeing this growth. This is what we want, man. This is what we need. This is what we want people to tune in for, because guess what's right around the corner? Now that this tournament's over, they've already been practicing back with their respective teams in the NHL. We're
Yep.
going to get to see some hockey play. And A Train, I can't help but think we saw a guy like Jack Hughes perform like he did in this game because he hasn't had the chance to perform like that at a playoff level in the NHL, right? How many of
Yep.
the guys on this Team USA took this the same way as an NHL playoff style
Yep,
game?
and like we do, like we like to do our player spotlight each week, the player of the week, and those were the two that I was. The first guy obviously was Hallebuck coming first to mind. The other guy was Jack Hughes, right? I feel like those two men have earned a spot for our player of the week. Do you agree?
I wholeheartedly agree. I think we'll probably what we're going to do because of the tremendous play of both guys. We're probably going to go Jets and then Devils week to week so we can focus on both of these guys.
Yeah, like
Um,
I said, I wanted to bounce that off of you because as I'm watching the game, you know, the gears are turning in my head, and I'm like, dude, it's got to be this guy. And then next up, I'm like, damn, it could be this guy. So you never know who's going to pop up for Player of the Week, which is my favorite segment of the show that we do.
yeah, I'm with you, A Train. I love singling out a player and trying to just talk about what they are going to grow into or what they've already achieved. We got to give flowers on this. We do sometimes get caught up in trying to break down and criticize where things went wrong. Well, on the hockey show, we like to try and spin things a little bit more positively. We want to
Yep.
we want to give people some flowers and give them their accolades that they deserve.
Right.
Um, Congrats, especially we can't say his name enough, Connor Hellebuck. Uh, Guy showed up, was tremendous. I am so impressed after last year's playoffs where he went in with such high regard with the Jets, and the first round people started really saying maybe he's got that little bit of shadow off his back where he's not going to compete. But then the second round, you and I watched it, he did not look very good last year. Um, I
Yeah,
think
and
it,
this is the thing, Graham. I don't want to say too much because we can't ruin the segment, right? We
yeah,
can't go too far into Hallebuck. All we can pinpoint is this
yep,
one game where he
yep.
showed up the biggest. So let's not give away too much for next week's show, right?
Oh no, I was just going to end that with look at him and how he skated across the ice today with the
Right.
flag on his back,
Yep.
tears rolling down his face, pure emotion and joy. I'm so happy for him. I'm so happy for Connor Hellebuck. And also, let's talk about the most emotional moment, dude, which you and I both know was Team USA skating Johnny Hockey's jersey out there, Johnny Gaudreau.
Yep. Bringing out his kids and having his jersey front and center. I mean, that was a tearjerker, and I'm
Yeah.
talking to people in the chat and stuff, and they're like, "Man, this is a special moment," and I'm like, "Dude, it was a special moment for hockey as a whole, especially for just America and hockey as a whole." I mean, guy got celebrated today. His unfortunate passing. I mean, what a great way to honor his legacy.
Yeah, and the whole just all of his friends on Team USA, all of even people who were just fellow competitors, everybody to come together, seeing his parents in the crowd, like you said, that really got me too. It definitely was a tear jerker, very emotional, but I think that it almost kind of seems like everything was meant to be for this Olympics for Team USA. It was almost like it was meant to be for all of them to come together for this moment to, put USA men's hockey back up front again and also pay homage, so to speak, to our boy Johnny Hockey.
Yep, and for the casual hockey fans that were watching it, that just don't watch it, religiously like we do, they were asking me, people in the comments, people, in the panel, they're like, what happened? What's the story? So, you know, it was cool to at least just shed light to what actually happened and to honor this man on this special day. So, again, I just, special feel good story, especially after we haven't done this for 46 years. The gold medal has not been, draped around our necks in 46 years. And, it's a big day for the United States of America. It's a big day for United States of America hockey.
Really is, men and women. Congrats. Real quick, we're gonna say, hey, check out Not Move Podcast Store. Check out NMP store, MLB store through Not Moved, NFL shop through Not Moved, Walmart shop through Not Moved. We got mybookie.ag, so you can get those. Use the code Not Moved. You're going to get some percentages. A Train, hit them with the info on W Energy drinks.
Yeah, W energy drinks, made specially for gamers, podcasters. They specialize. They got tons of great flavors. I think they're up to like 11 or 12 different flavors. Use promo code Not Moved, and you will get a great deal on W energy drinks.
Yeah, and we're always here at Not Move to help you guys out with anything we can, whether it's Southgate's parlays, Coach's Corner. Come visit us on TikTok, all of us. Let's finish up with some American Pride stuff here. I think who player for Team USA for the men specifically out of this whole tournament, out of all the games you watched, did you enjoy the most? Seeing win this gold medal. I mean, we already talked about Hellebuck and Jack Hughes. Let's focus on a couple other players here. Who's someone you enjoyed watching this tournament?
Oh man, this one's you're gonna put me on the spot here, right? I mean, God, Boldy, right? I
Yeah.
mean, came up big when we needed him the most, right? That's the guy I want to spotlight right now. You know, I've been waiting for this guy to, have that one breakout game, or just that one game where he steps up and he's the man. That's who I'm going to award it to. Guy got the first goal of this game, which was huge for us to come. We had to be on top. You know what I mean? To start this game early, we needed that 1-0 lead because we knew that Canada had the firepower to match us.
Yeah. I think you made the right call there. Boldy was he stepped up big time, not known for these type of heroics because he hasn't had the chance, and look at him perform.
Yep.
Um, I really obviously I can't say his name enough. Quinn Hughes. I'm so happy to watch him play and skate. I think he's one of my favorite players in the NHL to watch today.
Yeah.
Um, the way he controlled the puck, scored that overtime winner. Today, lighting it up against Team Canada as well. If you notice when your boy McKinnon and McDavid both taking rushes, he's incredible stick checks, incredible skating to match their speed. I'm really glad that Quinn Hughes was able to get this moment too with his brother Jack Hughes. That's got to be wonderful for the family as well. Just all around good moments.
Yep, definitely going to be some good memories on this one, Graham. We had the double doink off the post. Jordan Bennington got saved on that double doink, right? I don't know. You don't get closer to a goal than that, right? That one's definitely going to stick in my head. The other one that's definitely going to stick in my head was just that little scrum they had behind the net. Where there was definitely some fists a flying. Some pushing, some fists a flying. That's hockey, right? We know the physicality of what makes us enjoy and love hockey. So that's two plays right there that I'm definitely going to always remember in this game. I just crazy memories. We had lost teeth, we had fighting, we had sudden death, overtime goal. Like, what more do you want out of a hockey game?
Yeah, for real. I think this is going to go down as the American Hockey Olympics. Both teams just coming in, doing the dirty work, finishing it both against Team Canada, both in overtime, both 2-1. You couldn't draw up a better story for both teams to win. And we got to say also, Team Canada, good job, both sides, the women and the men. I want to shout out Bo Horvat. I was really impressed with him in the face-off circle throughout the whole tournament, especially if you noticed in overtime, 3-on-3, how
Hmm.
he went out there, won the face-off, skated right to the bench to get that other dynamic player out there.
Right.
I can't say enough about Bo Horvat, who is someone on Canada. Obviously, I know you want to shout out your boys.
I got to do all of them. I'm trying not to be biased, but my
Be
guy, my
biased.
yeah, my guys really played good today for Team Canada. Obviously, Kel McCarr was the only goal. Nathan McKinnon, he literally should have had a goal. Even Devon Taves, that if Hallebuck doesn't make that crazy stick save, you arguably could have a 3 goal scores by all Avalanche players just on this Canadian side.
Yeah. No, I don't think you cannot shout out Kale McCarr and Nate McKinnon throughout this whole tournament. They were very important to getting them to this gold medal game.
Mhm.
Kale McCarr especially. Well, thanks for taking the time, everyone. I hope you're enjoying the show with us. This was just, we wanted to come in here and pay respects to the team because I know if anybody is a hockey fan like us, you were up this morning, glued to the TV the entire time to this game, like we were. A Train, any last words to part with while we get out of here and then plan for the show on Thursday?
No, again, my MVP of the game with 41 saves, Connor Hallebuck. Gonna definitely, when I texted you, man, I think this guy deserves all the flowers in the world this week. What he did for America and just the type of game that he played. He's just an awesome player, and we're back at the top of the mountain. Love our country, love the United States of America. God bless America.
That's right. God bless America. We are gold medal champions. It's wonderful to see this in our lifetime, at least. I know the old team who won it 40 plus years ago. We salute you for setting the standard. We really appreciate you guys. But, thank you all for joining us. Of course, we have Thursday coming up, the Not Move podcast hockey show right here with A Train and myself. We might have our boy Southgate join us or maybe a couple other guests, but we are going to feature, like A Train said, our boy Connor Hellebuck. He's going to be the NMP player profile of the week. We'll get to talk about him. So don't worry. If you want more on gold medal winning goaltender Connor Hellebuck, come on here Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with A Train, me, Dollface, Gremlin. Thank you all for joining us. And hey, go USA. It's good to be back on top. See you guys.
This non casual podcast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or reused without the authorized written consent of the Not Move Podcast Network. Thank you, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.